the week by week insanity of this administration. Now, it was bad the first time, but we had General Kelly, even Rex Tillerson. When Rex Tillerson, the guy he brought in, was the Secretary of State, called him a moron. So basically, he packs the Supreme Court, gets everybody on the Supreme Court. He can win now. And then they tell him, the Supreme Court 9-0 says, hey man, you got to facilitate getting this dude back. This guy who was innocent, he's got three American citizen kids legal. Yeah. Legal resident. No criminal record here or left his home country because of the gangs. Correct. Claim he's a gang member. Yes. And now they're like, all right, you got to get him back from El Salvador. And the Supreme Court,
where do we go from here? Well, if he's not going to listen to the Supreme fucking Court.
You know what he said though? We told him to fuck off. He's like, yeah, we're not doing it. Then he sits with the guy, the president. You see, he sat with the president of El Salvador, right?
Yes.
And and I've said in the Armageddon, they had Dictator TITUS. They shared Dictator TITUS, and they talked, and it was basically, we can't bring a terrorist back. He's not a terrorist. And I think what happens is, once the cult, remember when Trump said I could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and I would still get more votes?
I do remember that.
I hate that he was right. Mm-hmm. Now, why do you think they want to bring this guy back? At first I thought it's because, they can't bring him back because he's going to tell everybody what a nightmare this prison is. He's going to be on every news show in the world.
And lawsuit after lawsuit.
Lawsuit after lawsuit. Yep. And they got to pay it. Then I thought, nah, that's not it. Trump doesn't care about that. He's dead.
Then he said, if they bring him back, they're just going to deport him again. After they said it was a mistake the first time.
Well, so when he met with Bukele, they're obviously buddy.
Dictator buddies.
Mm-hmm. And the president of El Salvador said, how could I return him to the United States? I smuggle him in? Of course I'm not going to do that. How could I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the same way power. He got here.
So Bukele, you got Bukele and Trump, you got Kim Jong-un and Putin. I think that they should just form a pickleball league of some sort. I mean, that would be to do. Just the dictators and have them go against Obama. Obama and AOC.
I love that you think that Trump could even jog 3 feet.
That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping he would just lock up.
His little kitten heels would get stuck in the cracks.
And a couple of hits, we just lock up and it's over. Then we can move on.
They also this week, if you saw this, they're using, of course, the IRS. So the head of the IRS has stepped down. They have gone through the Social Security Administration because, his First Lady, Elon, has gotten access to all of that info. And so far, they have marked 6,000 immigrants deceased. They said they were only people with criminal records and gang affiliations. And there was a 13-year-old girl, a 14-year-old boy.
Because one thing gang members do first is make sure their IRS information is up and running.
Yeah, their paperwork.
I think whatever gang, MS-13, they're like, hey man, hey Holmes, hey man, did you file? Did you file? You got to file, man. They're going to come after us, Holmes.
TurboTax, Holmes.
Penalties.
TurboTax, man.
But think about the implication of this, right? That if you mark someone dead, their life is over in a very literal sense because they cannot get
Social Security number,
credit,
driver's license,
an apartment,
ID,
buy a house.
Nope.
Nothing, no credit cards, nothing.
So
You're
what
dead.
that does is that forces them to leave. So basically what he's trying to get is everybody to self-deport. Now, what bothers me, and I'll say this again, I'm going to keep saying it, immigrants bring in $7 trillion every 10 years to our economy and $1 trillion in taxes.
Say that part again. They pay taxes.
They pay taxes and they don't get benefits. The only thing they do get is like if they go to the emergency room. That's it. But they don't get health care, they don't get Medicare. And so 7 trillion every 10 years in economy, helping the economy, and $1 trillion in taxes. As I say on my new show, we don't need to build a wall, we need to build a train. We need to get more of them here to get this debt paid down.
And if they want to give the money, the tax cuts to the billionaires, hey.
I just think that if we're deporting people that were birthed by immigrants that are felons that have a criminal record, wouldn't we just deport
Yeah, because
Trump?
Trump's mom was an immigrant.
Exactly.
And also Barron too has to go. Barron has to go because she wasn't legal when he was born.
I don't think Melania is still not,
That's
right?
what-
Wasn't her
no, she's
paperwork
like-
all?
She's legal. She married Fatso.
she married
No, but she wasn't, when he was born, she wasn't a citizen.
Yes, but his proposal, and I'm sure it is tied to that, is that one of the parents would have had to have been a citizen, and he was.
Right, but I'm still saying, though, it's still this weird gray area where he's a piece of shit.
Just say that.
I'm just
Just
kidding.
say
It's a gray
that.
area where he's a piece of shit. Every day. He's a
Let's
piece of
end birthright citizenship for
shit.
one.
I am. I am. Here's what's happening, and it's starting to see it. There was a video I just watched today. There was a woman that was at a town hall. She was it was a Republican town hall, and she is a Democrat. And she started kind of talking, and Sheriff came and goes, "You need to go right now." And she's like, "I'm not going. Yeah, you can't kick me out. I'm not doing anything wrong. You have to go right now. I'm not doing it." 3 guys, just no markings, black outfits, just walk up, and they start yanking her physically out of the thing.
But that's the thing, right? That we're talking about, that these morons don't seem to grasp, is that this is just one of the things that he's doing, because he's also now floated the idea of deporting American citizens that are in prison. So he marks these people deceased. He says, "Oh, yeah, the gang ties," even though one of them's a 13-year-old girl. What is then the stopgap after that to stop him? So now he's talking about American citizens that are criminals. So what is going to be left to stop him from deporting every single person?
If you know
room?
history, this is how it starts. Got to get rid of the criminals. We got to clean up Germany. We got to clean up Germany. You know what? Then we got to do these dirty Jews or blah blah blah. We got to get rid of the Jews because the Jews are criminals. The Jews are ruining the banking system. We got to get rid of them. We got to put them in camps. We got to. Next thing you know, is anybody who runs a podcast where they talk shit, I think they have to go next.
And
we have a
13-year-old girls are
podcast.
mean.
And you'll flip on me in a second. You'll be like, "Yeah, I was undercover. Yeah, here's what else he did. You should hear what he said in the office."
Did you catch all that?
Because if they're just saying, which is what's happening
They're just saying,
with the guy from Maryland, if they're just saying, "Well, we know that he has gang ties, we know he's a criminal," but there's no actual proof of that.
There's no
then
criminal
what
record.
is there to protect any single one of us?
Yeah, but they don't get that.
Terrorists. You're a terrorist.
Quote everybody that voted for this man thinks he ain't coming after me. He ain't
It's
coming
always
after me.
about,
Right.
they all
Right.
think they voted against the Dems, own the libs. They're only changing their tune when it affects them personally. And they even say, it's all about, I'm voting for me and my family or whatever.
Yeah.
Not everybody else.
Well-
Eggs
just
are
me.
very expensive.
Well, Social Security,
Dawn.
Medicare, Medicaid, that was when some of them woke up, because suddenly it wasn't just the guy of color or the poor guy down the street. It was them